I'm in the 2023 redesigned Nissan Z, and today's video I'm going to tell you everything I like about this vehicle more than the Supra that I drove last week, and also all the things I like more in the Supra. Gosh, so much power in this twin turbo V6, 400 horse, 350 pound-feet of torque. It loves to rev so high, and it is so satisfying. Last week I drove not only the Supra, but I also had Infiniti Q50, which has a similar twin turbo V6 to this. It's slightly detuned. That engine kind of dies in gaining power around 5,000 RPM, and this vehicle, it really likes to stretch out and gain power all the way to 7,000 RPM. But I drove the Supra manual last week and it was an absolute treat. Definitely watch out my Supra review because it is a really special manual transmission vehicle. But this Z, let's start with the exterior. This destroys the Supra in looks, in my opinion. Totally subjective when you're talking about exterior design. The Z looks like nostalgia on wheels that's boiled down to the most essential Z things. You have iconic headlights that date back to the original, or should I say an iconic 240 ZG that we didn't get in America as a Japanese exclusive. You get the long hood with the fastback roof. You have the rear taillights that are an homage to the second generation Nissan 300ZX, which also had a twin turbo like this vehicle. I actually like the wheels better in this vehicle than the Supra, and you have the 19-inch wheels on here with the Akebono brakes. They stop great. If you get the base model of this, is around $40,000. Still gives you the same engine, but you give up the limited slip differential. But I would, I'd probably rather have that base Nissan Z for around $40,000 over the 4-cylinder GR Supra. Oh my gosh. It's so loud. I love how loud this exhaust is. The Supra doesn't have such a loud exhaust. It sounds great and it feels great with its smoothness from the inline 6, but there's a lot more, I feel like, more character to this engine with the exhaust as well. Unfortunately, the Z manual does not have a good exhaust note. It's very quiet. They had to do that for regulations in California, but the manual here, or sorry, the automatic here with the paddle shifters, the aluminum paddle shifters are massive. Downshifting to third gear. It is very satisfying to drive this car, and the 8-speed auto in the Supra is better than this 9-speed, even though this 9-speed is pretty darn good. It's a big step up from the 7-speed in the outgoing model, but to be honest, like, I'd be happy with either automatic transmission. I think they're both really quick and very satisfying, and and match the intentions of the driver pretty well. There's also a drive mode in here that puts into sport mode. It just makes it a little bit more eager to downshift when you get into the gas, and holds onto the gears a little bit longer. But actually I've been driving it in standard most of the time because the exhaust, even though it's loud and it sounds good, sometimes I don't want it always blaring and throughout the cabin. Speaking of the cabin, that's where I prefer this over the Supra every single time. I like everything about it over the Supra. Actually, I love the manual handbrake here. I love the two-tone design. You can also get this with the blue interior, which looks amazing. And I don't like the Supra software or the screen that's really high mounted. So I prefer the traditional rotary dials here for the climate control. I love the triple gauges here for turbo PSI and turbo RPMs, and the battery voltage. It just looks so good. I like the fully digital MID behind the steering wheel in this vehicle over the Supra. I just feel like the overall design ergonomics in here are far and above what's offered in the Supra, but that could also just be due to personal preference as well, just like how I prefer the exterior of this car over the exterior of the Supra. Getting into the brakes, of course, there's plenty of traffic here in southern Florida this time of year. The brakes feel great in here. The vehicle stops well. I have no issues with the predictability of the brakes. It feels very much like the Q50's predictability with the brake pedal. So, and that's a really good thing because I really enjoy the brakes in that Infiniti Q50. Unfortunately, I have like little to no turns or hills or any sort of elevation change here in Florida, so everything's straight and flat. So pushing this thing to its cornering limits never is a reality here where I live in South Florida, but I guess I get to enjoy the warm weather. It's actually chilly today, it's like 65, but I get to enjoy the warm weather, the clear skies, a sunny atmosphere, 365 essentially, with palm trees swaying, so can't really complain too much. Now this vehicle gets tons of looks. I feel a little awkward in here at times, but if you're into getting a lot of attention in the vehicle, this is, oh, here we go. Let's not run into this trailer here. Do we have anything good on there? No, nothing. Ooh, that truck broke down. That's not good, with a bunch of luxury cars on it. This car does get a lot of looks. I feel a bit awkward, people staring in the cabin, especially when I have this camera on my face. It's pretty awkward. But if you're into being a magnet for looks, this Z is definitely the way to go over the Supra. The Supra is interesting looking, but it's definitely not the eye catcher or the eye magnet that the new Z is. I do really enjoy this steering wheel with the Z emblem on it. It looks and feels great in the hands. The leather is really high quality here, and the ride quality in here, it's not too harsh. I feel like it's actually damped pretty well. I still think the ride quality is better in the Supra. However, there's something about the Supra that I feel like is a better daily driver than this vehicle. I feel like the Supra also has a little bit more sound deadening. Maybe, I mean, that's also subjective because I'm not, you know, measuring it with a sound meter, decibel meter, or anything like that. But I do feel like the Supra is a tad bit quieter, at least with insulation from the road. This is one of the prettier views in Naples here, just looking out over the water. It's just stunning. So in my opinion, the Supra doesn't hold a candle to the Z's redesigned looks on the outside. The interior on here is also superior. I also like this handbrake. And the strongest argument for the Z, if you can find one without dealer markups, is its price. You can get this with the limited slip diff, manual or automatic, around 50,000, low 50s, where the Supra, to get the same sort of equipment with radar cruise control, this has radar cruise control by the way, you're going to be spending well over $55,000, and that's where this is a better value. You get similar performance with crazy good looks and crazy good ergonomics and interior design, but unfortunately for the Z, it doesn't drive as well. And when you're spending a lot of money on a sports car, it just depends. Do you prioritize driving mechanics number one, or is it about aesthetics and curb appeal? This will beat the Supra on curb appeal in my opinion, but in terms of driving performance, and not just objective performance does a Supra win, but also with subjective performance. Like, I really enjoy that 6-speed manual and also the 8-speed ZF transmission over this 9-speed. Not that it's bad, it's really good in here, and it's a big upgrade over the 7-speed. It's just that your competition is a near perfect 8-speed auto built from ZF that you know, BMW likes to use in a lot of their performance products. When I drove the Nissan Z 6-speed manual, I really enjoyed the shifter feel. It has a lot more character than the Supra. There's more vibrations coming through the shifter and the vehicle. The clutch, it has a character of its own and will fight you to get a smooth start. Like, I feel like this is a more raw vehicle, but the refinement of the Supra manual is just on a completely different level, and it is a better vehicle to drive every single day with just the overall smoothness and predictability of it over the 6-speed manual Z. So driving dynamics definitely goes towards the Supra, but everything else in terms of value, in terms of aesthetics, as well as ergonomics, I feel like this vehicle wins. And maybe not ride quality, maybe the ride quality goes to the Supra as well. So I feel like it's like 3 check marks for the Z, assuming you can find one at MSRP, and 2 check marks for the Supra. But the most important check mark for the Supra is its overall refinement and performance over this vehicle. It's not by much, Don't get me wrong, it's not by much, but when you're talking about a sports car, those things might mean a little bit more to you as you're investing a lot of money for a performance car. If I was on the market for either a Supra or a Z, I would be cross-shopping both of them because I would be happy living with for many years either of those vehicles, regardless of transmission as well. So I'm gonna end it there. Let me know which vehicle you are going with, or would you be picking. Oh, and there's a new WRX there, a red one. I'm starting to see them on the road. They definitely stick out because it's a sedan with a lot of black plastic cladding over the bottom of the vehicle. It's just not that pretty. The best ones look black because you don't have the stark contrast of the black cladding over the black paint. But I got to cut myself off. Thank you guys so much for watching my comparison of the Z and the Supra. It was great to have them back to back, and that just was a complete coincidence, I would say. And looks like that beach just finally opened up there. How about I show you guys our Naples beaches real quick. We'll end with that. I'll take you guys out on the beach real quick because this beach just opened up. It's been closed since the hurricane, and it's going to be a treat for me as well as you to see the beach to finish up this Nissan Z review. Very, very lucky to live here in paradise.